When I was under the impression that there was around 1,000 or so people that God had spoken to on YouTube. And this is why I'm doing this video. It's because those 1,000 people that heard from God, I really believe they heard from God, because a few months ago the Lord spoke to me, and this is what the Lord told me. And he said this. He said, the dividing of the land will happen on 9-23. So I was like so many others. I just assumed that he meant September 23rd. So instead of me thinking, well, those that worship God must worship Him in spirit and in truth, I was just taking Him at face value, thinking that God was saying September 23rd. But come to find out, I was listening to a lady on YouTube, and this lady, it was kind of interesting, because I actually heard two different voices after this lady spoke in my spirit. And those two different voices, one voice said, this lady had spoken and said that November meant the number 9. And I'm like, this little voice came up in my spirit and said, I don't know if I really believe that or not. So right after that, I heard another voice, which was the Lord's voice. And this makes perfect sense, because the Lord wants us to search out and diligently seek Him. So the next voice I heard is, well, it wouldn't hurt for you to do a little research to find out. So I did. I found out that this lady was telling the truth. November means the 9. It means 9. So when everybody got the word from God that said 9-23, God was telling them November-23. Now I looked up the 2-3, what that meant, and that means Father is gathering. So that's important that we know that God, the Old Testament, when you have a dream and God gives you a number, look up the number. Or if God gives you a name, look up the name. Because God is speaking to His people, and He's wanting us to have an intimate, personal relationship with Him. But if we don't worship Him in spirit, and we think we know what He's saying, we assume we know what He's saying, we very well are probably wrong, because I was wrong. I assumed He meant 9-23, which I thought was September 23rd. But come to find out, 9 means November. So, and that answers another question. And the reason I have this little breastplate of righteousness up there is for the 12 sons of Jacob. Reuben was born in January, Simeon was born in February, Levi was born in March, Judah was born in April. And when you find out that Judah, Jesus was, in Hebrews, it says Jesus sprang out from Judah. Okay, that was the 4th month, which would be April. He didn't literally spring out from Judah, but he sprang out. I guess he could have sprang out as a great-great-great-grandson or something. But he was from the tribe of Judah when he got his resurrected body. So he sprang out in the month of April, which was the Passover month. So whenever you think about Judah, Jesus became the tribe of Judah. And then you have the 5th son, which is Zebulun. Now on this chart it says trying to think, hold on. It says Zebulun. Okay. The sixth son is Ishtar. The seventh son is Dan. That's the month of July, which in Genesis it talks about Dan will judge his people. And that's in Genesis 49. I believe it's 10. But that's God will judge his people in July. And July is the month of judgment. So you've got Jesus, who was born in September, and he was the scales. And the reason that you know he was born in September is because in Haggai 2:18 and 2:19 it says, "Is the seed yet in the barn?" Now there's more to that verse. You can look it up, because it's better if you look it up and you seek Him. Because God is spirit, and we want to know what He's saying. So Haggai 2:18 and Haggai 2:19 says, Haggai 2:18 says, "From this day upward." Okay, that means forward. That was 9:24. Okay, Jesus was born as baby Jesus. He was born exactly at midnight. He was the Alpha and Omega. He had no beginning, no end. So Jesus was born in the month of September. And that would be the month of Azar, which was the ninth son of Jacob. Now, what was interesting about this is Joseph was the 11th son of Jacob. And he was born in November. Okay, so he would be, actually, when you think November, and November meaning 9, that would explain why Joseph was not born in the month of September, but he was born in the month of November. If he's a type and shadow of Jesus coming back, then Jesus would be the 9th month, and Joseph would be the 11th month, which would still be 9. So you would still have 9, 2, 3. Now, whenever that was always a question to me in the Old Testament, because Joseph saved his people, and I knew he was a type and shadow of Jesus coming back with the 7-year tribulation and everything. But so many people do not realize that in Genesis 49, these 12 sons of Jacob had to overcome to get their birthstones. In Exodus 28:10, you can see that they got the stones according to their birth. So the firstborn was Reuben, the secondborn was Simeon. So January, February, March, April. So we get our new stone when we overcome. These 12 sons had to overcome to be able to get their new stone, their new birthstone, and their new name written in heaven. And I believe that's Revelation 2:17, if I'm not mistaken. But so they got the birthstones. That's why they laid out the stones of 12 stones every time they overcame something and the waters parted and they saw a miracle. They always laid out 12 stones, and that was symbolic of the 12 sons of Jacob. So whenever you think about Joseph, why wasn't he born in September? Well, he was born in the month of November, which would mean 9. So that makes perfect sense now. I mean, God is a God of riddles, and those that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. And I'm not going to make this very long. I really hope that you will watch this and realize that all those people that heard from God really did hear from God. God spoke to them, but He gave them a riddle. How many of them solved it? Not very many of them. That one lady on YouTube is the one that I learned what November meant. It means the month, the 9th month. So we've got something coming on November 23rd, which would be 923. I hope this helps y'all. God bless.